What's up, everybody? We just got done seeing A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah, we did, and as promised, we're coming at you with the review. Let's find out if the movie's worth the price and how it stacks up to the first one.
All right, we're back. It's been 3 years since the last movie. The original cast is back in this movie. It stars John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, got the kids from the original. John Krasinski is credited with directing and writing this movie. Who else is in this movie?
All right, Josh, you got two phenomenal actors they brought onto this movie. All right, you got Djimon Hounsou, very well-known actor. I'm sure you've all seen him in Guardians of the Galaxy and Gladiator and Blood Diamond and a lot of other stuff. Phenomenal actor. I love that guy. And then you got Cillian Murphy, who did an awesome job as Thomas Shelby in Peaky Blinders. I love his acting in that show. It's probably one of my top favorite shows that's on Netflix right now. Outstanding show. And then I tell you what, Josh, I know everybody was hoping this was going to happen, but he's back. All right, he made a short cameo appearance, but it was fantastic. We got the nail, baby. The nail is back in the movie.
The nail from the original is back in this one.
That's right.
Okay, so Billy, what did you think about how this movie started off?
So I thought it started off well. I thought it had a good amount of action in the beginning. I like how they kind of go into what started this. I know last time when we did the review of Quiet Place 1, we told you guys, and those of you that have seen it, that there was no explanation of really where these aliens or monsters came from. And this one gives you a good idea of where it is. It shows a meteorite coming down to the Earth, and then it shows all heck breaking loose, and it really gives you an understanding of how these things, kind of took over so quickly because they just come out of nowhere, and it's just like a really fast and dramatic event that happens, and it gives you a little bit better understanding of how these things kind of took us by surprise.
Yeah, I will say it doesn't go into like great detail where they came from. It keeps it pretty simple, and they don't get too much into the backstory of these aliens. But what's there is pretty decent. And I tell you what, I really loved how this movie started out. I like that it starts off in like a small town at like a baseball game, and then like all heck just breaks loose. I was really in it from the get-go.
Yeah, no, that was definitely good.
So what do you think about the scene, like the family's like moving to like a new area to make like find a new home? What did you think about all that stuff?
So yeah, the whole movie, like you're saying, is pretty much this family, as you know, at the end of Quiet Place 1, their house burns down, they got to find a new place to live, right? So everything's on fire, burning down, and the basement's flooded, so very much they can do there. They're trying to move out, and that's where this movie kind of goes downhill for me, Josh. This movie reminds me of like a short season of The Walking Dead, right? They get into a bad situation, like, we got to move to the next place. Hey, we see some signs about a good place to move to. We move there, everything goes to crap again, and then you got to have a not so climactic ending. So I was not very impressed with kind of how that whole situation went down.
Well, I will say like their new digs are definitely an upgrade from the previous one, where they have like this like bunker that they can stay in and can be a little bit more noisy. They're like actually talking a little bit more in this movie and everything like that, because some of the characters they meet now don't understand sign language and everything like that, like the original movie. I do like how they changed the perspective, which they did in the original as well, from the that girl's perspective, where like she's deaf, so you can't hear, so everything's kind of muted, and it's just really cool. You actually even get some perspective from like the creatures like hearing, which is cool as well in this one.
Yeah.
But as far as the new home, it's kind of interesting because in the first one, they're so careful throughout that movie. In this one, they're like even in a better situation and are kind of like more reckless.
Absolutely. The recklessness in this movie just completely throws out everything we learned about this family in the beginning. They were so articulate and so just everything was planned, and they knew exactly what to do and what not to do. And in this one, all that's gone, right? It's completely out the window for the most part. You got some scenes where, the kid's playing Sherlock Holmes and he's going around, investigating stuff, when it's like, hey, your mom told you to stay in the bunker. You should know better. You know how you were raised, and it makes no sense of why this kid's out and about doing the things he's doing that, ends up getting him into a decent amount of trouble.
Yeah, that scene did make a whole lot of sense to me, why he was like out and about, especially in his condition, which made it that much worse. So I don't know. Seemed a little odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I think they were trying to go at an angle of make it more kid-focused this time around and kind of make the kids more center stage in this one, and kind of have them kind of take over some really lead role parts of this. And, and it kind of plays out that way through the movie, and I understand that. But, you could have did that without making the kid turn into a complete moron, basically, for certain parts of the movie.
Yeah, and I like Killian Murphy in this role, and he's kind of like the new dad character in this.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, like when John Krasinski's in this movie, he shines, and I feel like the movie's missing him to a certain
No,
point.
I agree. Yeah, John Krasinski definitely he made that first movie. He really did. I mean, the acting was great in the first movie across the board, but you really don't realize how much he makes it until you watch this one. You don't see him as much,
He
and it's like,
brought
wow,
like a
it really is missing
certain
him.
like emotional factor to the movie
Yes,
that
he
this
did.
one doesn't quite have like the original. I don't
No, it
think.
does. It doesn't. I mean, you still get the looks of fear on the faces, and you still get the feeling of the danger out there. But it's almost like there's danger at every turn in this one, right? Where in the first one it wasn't quite that way. There was some good, some kind of quiet moments in the first one where everything seemed okay. And this one, there's not a whole lot of that, and you get just used to it, just being just danger after danger after danger after danger. Like I said, it's almost like a short bad season of The Walking Dead.
Now we were worried about this. Like this is what sequels tend to do is they ramp up the action. And this one does have more of the monsters in it. And there's probably more scenes interacting with them. What did you think about all that?
Yeah, I thought that was good. I like how they show the monsters more. I liked. There's another scene in the movie where there's several people involved. We don't want to spoil the plot here, but that they brought the monsters out in that and kind of just showed just how much damage these scenes can take a toll on people in a matter of seconds, right? I mean, they can just come through and start mowing through people like it's nothing. So I like how they throw that in there and really show you just how deadly these things are, which you didn't really get a good look of in the first movie because you were killing people by onesies and twosies, Whereas this movie, they really got a good opportunity to start mowing through people and kind of just showing you the amount of destruction these things can cause.
Yeah, you don't get that, but the first movie introduced these creatures, so you're very like invested and interested. And this one doesn't really take them too much further, though.
No, it doesn't.
It's kind of more of the same with their abilities and what they do, which I guess is somewhat expected, but something is lost there.
Yeah, it is, but it also the one thing this movie does show you too is it shows you another vulnerability that these monsters had that we didn't know they had in the first one. So you find something out new about these monsters, another vulnerability they have, which could potentially be played to the betterment of humankind to kind of get away from these things and segregate the humans from the monsters.
Yeah, and that brings up some, I guess, kind of issues as well. And like going back to how these things kind of enter, they look like they're coming through a meteorite or something like that. And it's like, well, well, what kind of scale is this happening? Because you don't see, it's not like meteorites are just raining down on Earth. So you don't really get the impression that there's like thousands or millions of these things running around. They don't really ever get into that, but you only see
No.
like one meteorite, I
Yeah,
believe.
no, that's all you see. It never shows flashes from all over the world, different worldly perspectives. It only shows this one town. So
Yeah,
that's all you ever get a chance to
and
see.
this new vulnerability kind of brings up some issues where you would expect like many people to be able to get around this as well,
Absolutely.
especially like the military and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, so it leaves even more unanswered questions of why couldn't we take these things out sooner, right? So it kind of, as if the first one wasn't bad enough of why we couldn't figure it out. This one, it really leads you to believe, okay, if they're vulnerable to that too, why couldn't we figure this out a lot earlier?
So, how do you think about the movie, how it ended?
I didn't like it. Um, I mean, obviously they leave it open ended for a third movie. I'm pretty sure John's probably got another one planned up his sleeve, but I don't like what they did with the ending. It was very abrupt. It doesn't really leave you with that good warm fuzzy that that yeah, this was great. I enjoyed how this went down. I think they should have done a much better job with the way they ended that movie.
Yeah, this movie just started off so good for me, and as it continued to progress, it started like slowly going down for me.
Yep.
It was kind of weird. This movie definitely lacks the emotion in the first movie, and that first movie was like it was the suspense was high, the emotions was high, and this one just doesn't bring it to that level. I don't think, in my opinion.
No, I don't either. I don't think it does either, and I think it was lacking in that department. Absolutely was lacking, and and maybe part of the reason is from what I understand, John Krasinski wrote this one all by himself, whereas the first movie had a couple other writers helping him out. So he was one of three writers, and this one John Krasinski wrote it all by himself. Maybe that had a something to play in the way the movie turned out, but I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as the first one.
Yeah, this movie at like one point almost felt like very like Jurassic Park with those raptor scenes to
Yeah.
me. And I get the first one kind of did that too, but more so with this movie for some reason.
Absolutely. And they threw in more, in the beginning, it was really primarily like the raptor sounds. And this one, they threw some almost T Rex sounds in there too, and maybe some predator type sounds. So they threw some more sounds from the monsters in this one. They really weren't in the first movie. but it's like they just took a collage of, like I said, T-Rex, raptor, predator, and any other kind of crazy animal that they could find in a movie and just threw it all together and made these aliens sound like all of them.
Yeah, I didn't really notice all that, but they got that clicking noise that's almost like the raptors, like claws on the ground, so you know what's coming. And this movie follows a lot of similar beats with the creatures from the first movie,
Hmm.
which it just seems like it's kind of repetitive, and I don't know if they know where to like take it exactly.
Yeah, no, you could definitely tell that they don't know where to take it. I think, I think, the way that movie ended up, it just, they leave it way too open, right? They could have, I mean, they closed no doors whatsoever. They left it way too open. And I honestly have no idea where they plan on taking it.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because we just saw Army of the Dead, and I almost enjoy that movie a little bit more because, like, Army of the Dead is completely stupid. There's a ton of plot holes, but like the action and everything, it just kept me like interested.
Right. Well, and the thing is, with a zombie movie, you expect that. You expect there to be a lot of plot holes, a lot of stupid mistakes because it's a zombie movie. This movie, when you got to stack it up to the first one and how, there was a lot less mistakes in the first one than there was in this one. It doesn't add up in the way the characters react to certain things in this one compared to the way they reacted in the first one.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because this was the first movie I went back in the theater to, so I was really pumped up. We just recently saw the other one, and that movie is phenomenal. So maybe like the expectations were just too high.
I think the expectations were definitely too high because I walked out of there a little disappointed. I mean, I had high expectations for this film. I thought it was going to be a great blockbuster. And for me, it just let me down a little bit.
All right, Billy. So how would you rate this movie?
All right, so honestly, I'm gonna have to rate this one a little low. I would probably only give this about a 6 out of 10, whereas the first one I'd have easily given it an 8 out of 10. This one, I got to see it in theater, and the first one I didn't, and I really wish I would have seen the first one in theater. Where this one I couldn't have cared less. I mean, I honestly say, don't waste your money. Wait till it comes out on streaming because it just didn't add up to the first one. There were just too many just things in there that just didn't make sense. Too many plot holes. Too much stuff that went wrong, and it just didn't hit the spot for me.
A six? That's kind of a strong take.
Yeah, yeah, it's and well, and that's because we were going into this movie thinking it was going to be so great. There was such great expectations for it, and it just didn't reach them.
Yeah, I'm not quite at a six. I'm more at a seven, but I would have probably given the first movie an eight. And this being a sequel, uh, I went into it probably feeling like this movie hopefully would have been a nine. And so for it being a seven, it's a little disappointing. It's not that the movie's bad. It's just the expectations going into this were pretty high for me, and it did not like meet those expectations. So that leaves me a little disappointed. But if it weren't for the first one, I would give this one a seven. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie, but I would still wait to see it on streaming. I don't think it's worth going out in the theater to see, especially if you just have to wait a month or two to see it on streaming. All right, everybody, that is our review of A Quiet Place 2. We really liked the original, but this one just did not hit the spot for us.
No, it didn't, Josh, but that doesn't mean it won't hit the spot for you. So do us a favor. If you like the movie, let us know. And if you agree with us, let us know that as well. But until then, we'll check you out next time. Thanks.
All right, everybody. All right, all right, all right. That was A Quiet Place 2 coming at ya. Billy, what do we got here?
We got it. That it sucked. Doesn't add up to the first film as far as I'm concerned.
So what number are you giving it?
I guess we should, yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah. What? Give me a number. Well, don't jump the gun now.
you need to be a little more energetic in yours too, man.
Hi everybody, what's going on? I'm Josh. Quiet Place.
Oh, that is A Quiet Place 2.